Hello viewers, yes, this is Ranjana ma'am and you're watching, yes, it's mine as well as your channel. Let me apologize to you for the delay. Actually, ICSE and ISC board students, so I had to go for some quick revision videos for them. That doesn't mean that you are less important to me, but actually I couldn't make the time. Very sorry indeed, but here I am. So as many of you had requested, ma'am, please, we are also appearing for our annual exam. So Act 2, Scene 3 and Scene 4 of Macbeth. So this is Act 2, Scene 3 as the thumbnail says it all. So without wasting any more time, let's start. Yes, but before we start, you know what's coming. If you have not subscribed to my channel up till now, please do. And don't forget to press the like button. So Act 2, Scene 3 is an important scene. This is also known as the Porter scene. And it is said that this scene had been added to give comic relief to the audience because tension is mounting. Macbeth has murdered Duncan in his own castle. In Macbeth's castle, the murder has been committed. So now the porter is at the gate. By porter, don't mean what we refer to porter in our own way. We say those coolies who carry your luggage. Not that. Here he is called porter, but his job is that of a gatekeeper. His job is to open the lock, allow the person to come in and then lock the gate again. So he is the porter or the gatekeeper of one of the castle gates of Macbeth's palace. One of the gates, there are several gates. This is one of the gates. In Act 2, Scene 3, you must have read about the knocking. So it is at that very gate that the knocking is heard, and naturally the porter, who had gone to bed quite late, he is annoyed and he has to get up from his sleep and open the gate. Porter, here is a knocking indeed. If a man were porter of Hellgate, he should have old, turning the key. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? In the name of Beelzebub? Here is a farmer that hanged himself on the expectation of plenty. Come in, time pleaser. Have napkins enow here. Here you'll sweat for it. So this is a bit funny. The porter says that there is someone knocking at the gate. So he says that if I were to be the porter of the hell gate, I would turn old. Why? Because if you are a porter at the hell gate, you will be answering to a number of calls, because very many people come to the hell gate. Lots of sinners. Every few minutes there is a knocking. So he says that if I were, or if someone is the porter of the hell gate, he would be turning old, opening the lock and again shutting it. And then he hears the knocking and he is asking, in the name of the devil, or rather Beelzebub is supposed to be the prince of among the devils. He is supposed to be the supremo or the prince among the devils. So in the name of Beelzebub, who is knocking? And then he himself answers that the knocking is done by a farmer. These are nothing real. He is just going on talking to himself. So he says that the knocking must be done by a farmer. Why is the farmer come to hell? So he says the farmer must have committed suicide. Why? Because he got bankrupt. He had thought that there would be plenty of crop, but the prices, he did not get good prices, and as a result he committed suicide. So the porter is as if welcoming the farmer to the gate of hell. So that means Macbeth's castle is being compared to hell. Why? Because of the gruesome murder that Macbeth has committed. He has killed his own monarch, his king, who had been good to him. And in return, how did Macbeth act? He killed the very person who had always looked upon him so lovingly. He had considered Macbeth to be very loyal and had rewarded him for his bravery in the battle and everything, and paid a visit to his castle to show him honor. And Macbeth, what does he do? He kills Duncan. So Macbeth's castle is being compared to Hellgate, or hell rather, and this is therefore, the porter is saying that this is the gate of hell, and the people who are wanting entry, they are the sinners. But it is not so. Someone else is wanting to be admitted. But while he is going, he is just talking rubbish. He is talking to himself. So he welcomes the farmer. There is no farmer actually outside, let me tell you. While going to open the gate, he is talking all these. So he says, "Come in, time pleaser." So he calls the farmer an opportunist. "Have napkins enow about." So have lots of handkerchiefs. Why? Because you need to wipe them. Hell is very hot. It is said the fires of hell are always supposed to be burning. So that is why he will be feeling hot. So you should have enough napkins to wipe the sweat from your face and body. Then again a knock is heard. So the people who want entry, when they see that the gates are not being opened, they keep on knocking very loudly. So this is again knock knock. Who's there? In the other devil's name. First he had said in the name of Beelzebub. So now he says in the name of the other devil, who is the person knocking? So while from his room to the gate, while he is proceeding with the keys, he is talking all this. Faith, here is an equivocator. So equivocator is a person who swears on both sides. In a court case, you will be swearing either for the defense or for the person who has been accused. You are swearing on behalf of that person, or you are swearing on behalf of the government. But you can't be swearing for both cases. But the equivocator swears for both cases because he is given money by both the parties. So who's here there in the other devil's name? Faith, here is an equivocator that could swear in both the scales against either scale. So this equivocator can take an oath or swear on the both sides of the case. So he is committing a treachery, he is committing a treason in the name of religion. Who committed treason enough for God's sake, yet could not equivocate to heaven. So he committed treachery by swearing in the name of God, but because of that he could not come to heaven, and he is being sent to hell for his equivocating. Again there is a knocking heard. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? Faith, here is an English tailor come hither for stealing out of a French hose. Come in, tailor. Here you may roast your goose. So he says, the third person, he names is the tailor, and he says, and not any other tailor but an English tailor. Why? Why has he been sent to hell? Because he has stolen cloth from the material which was given to him to prepare a pair of French trousers. So he is welcoming the tailor. Come in, tailor. Here you may roast your goose. That means here you may, hell is so hot, so here you may heat your iron. Tailor's iron, so you may heat it. Why? Because hell is burning hot. So you can heat your iron here. Knocking again. This is the fourth time. Knock, knock, never at quiet. What are you? So, can there be no peace? The knocking is going on and on and on. So, he says, what are you? Means who are you? Who are you at the, who are you who is continuing to knock? First he says it's the farmer, then the equivocator, then he says the tailor, and now also the knocking persists. So he says, who are you who is calling at the gate? But this place is too cold for hell. I'll devil porter it no further. I had thought to have let in some of all professions that go the primrose way to the everlasting bonfire. Knocking, again and knocking. Anon, Anon, I pray you, remember the porter. So he says that, can I have no peace here? And then he says, this place cannot be hell. Why? Because it is too cold. Hell should be burning hot, and this place is too cold for hell. So he doesn't want to be the porter of Hellgate anymore. And he says that I wish to allow some of all professions, farmer, equivocator, tailor, who come in a very pleasurable way to the everlasting bonfire. Why? Because the fires of hell seem to be burning always. So those people who come very in a pleasurable manner, they enter the gates of hell. Again there is a knocking, and he says, I'm coming at once, coming at once. And then he says, please remember to give me a tip when I come and open the gates for you. But there is no one, actually, in reality, there is no one who is waiting to be admitted to the hell gate. Actually, king had ordered 2 of his lords to come and wake him up in the early hours of the morning, because he had planned to leave the castle of Macbeth, and he would be going for the coronation of his eldest son Malcolm as the crown prince. So this is why he had told Macduff that, come and wake me up in the early hours of the morning, and that is why Macduff has come here along with Lennox. So who are the people whom he finds at the gate? When the porter goes and opens the gate, who are the people whom he finds there? Enter Macduff and Lennox. Macduff is the Thane of Fife. He plays an important role in Macbeth. Macduff, was it so late, friend, ere you went to bed, that you do lie so late? So Macduff is asking him that, why are you so late in opening the gate? Had you gone to bed very late that you take so much time in getting up in the morning? It's the early hours of the morning. So he's questioning, that means why did you take so long to come and open the gate? Did you go to sleep quite late, and that is why you have come, you have woken up so late? Faith, sir, we were carousing till the 2nd clock, and drink, sir, it is a great provoker of 3 things. So Porter says that we were drinking till the 2nd clock. So drinking till 3 o'clock in the morning. And he says that drinking encourages 3 things, provokes, encourages 3 things. So naturally Macduff, he is interested. What 3 things does drink specially provoke? A little bit of cheap lines. So he says, marry, sir, nose painting, sleep and urine. So what are the things that drinking provokes? So he says, marry doesn't mean to marry someone. It is a way of swearing by Mary, mother of Jesus Christ. So he is swearing by Mother Mary that the 3 things which are encouraged by drinking, they are the reddening of the nose getting red, and then sleep, and also urination, that means going to pee. Sir, lechery, sir, it provokes and unprovokes. Lechery means bad character, a bit, what should we say, a bit, it encourages passion. It encourages passion, and it also discourages it. So he only explains, he gives his own explanation how it encourages as well as discourages passion. It provokes the desire, but it takes away the performance. So it provokes the lust in a person who drinks, but at the same time it also puts out the lust. It also cools the lust. That means a person gets excited, he gets lusty, but then it also discourages him. Therefore, drink may be said to be an equivocator with lechery. So a little while ago only he said equivocator is a person who swears for both sides. In the same way, drink provokes as well as unprovokes lechery. So drink is an equivocator of lechery. Lechery, or encouraging the lust for something in a person. You know what? It makes him and it mars him. It makes him. Opposite of making is marring or destroys him. It sets him on, it takes him off. So it excites him and then also puts off the excitement for him. It excites him into passion and then also cools his passion down. It persuades him and disheartens him. So it persuades someone to carry on with his lecherous or lusty desire, lusty urge, and then also discourages him. Make him stand to and no stand to. That means makes him get into action and then dampens his spirit. He doesn't have the urge to do it after a short time. And in conclusion, that means to sum it all, equivocates him in a sleep and giving him the life leaves him. So this drink makes the drunk person fall asleep and knocking him down. It knocks him down, makes him fall asleep and then knocks him down, and after that leaves him. So what a role drink plays in exciting a person and then dampening his lust. Macbeth, I believe drink gave thee the lie last night. So Macbeth says, I think the drinking knocked you down last night. So you must have been knocked out by drinking. That it did, sir, in the very throat of me, but I requited him for his lie, and I think being too strong for him, though he took up my legs sometime, and yet I made a shift to cast him. So Porter agrees, yes, sir, it knocked me down. While I passed the drink through my throat, it did knock me down, but I also gave it a counter fight. I also hit back at him. I gave him a counter fight, and I was very strong. I was stronger of the two. The drink did not overpower me, rather I overpowered drink. So sometimes I staggered, I could not stand properly on my feet, but then also I overcame drinking. Is thy master stirring? That means, is your master awake? Here master refers to Macbeth. Our knocking has awaked him. Here he comes. And then he sees Macbeth proceeding. Remember the knockings Macbeth and Lady Macbeth had heard? So he says that maybe we were knocking in so loudly that he has awakened from his sleep and is coming towards us. Lennox, good morrow, noble sir. So Lennox wishes Macbeth good morning. Macbeth, good morrow both. So both of you, good morning. Is the king stirring, worthy Thane? So Macduff wants to know if the king is awake. Not yet. No, he is still in bed. He did command me to call timely on him. I have almost slipped the hour. So Macduff says that he had ordered me that I should wake him up early this morning. So I think I'm too late for the time he had mentioned. He had appointed a time and told me to wake him up then, but I think I have missed that time. I am late. The labor we delight in physics pain. This is the door. So he says that yes. Macbeth says, I'll bring you to him. I'll take him to you. So Macduff says, I know this is a joyful trouble to you, but yet it is one. So Macduff says, I know very well that the trouble you are taking, it is a happy trouble to you. But I know you don't mind it. Don't mind what? Taking Macbeth, taking all the trouble of waking up, attending to Macbeth and taking him to the king. But he says, I know you don't mind it at all. Macbeth, the labor we delight in physics pain. So the happiness which we get in doing this labor, it eases our labor. So in doing this job, when we feel happy, so there is no trouble. There is no trouble when we feel happy in doing a job. And then he shows him the door of Duncan's room. This is the door. I'll make so bold to call, for it is my limited service. So Macbeth asks permission to knock at the door. Why? Because this job has been entrusted to him. So he is taking the permission from Macbeth to go and knock at Duncan's door, because the king has specially told him to go and wake him up. Goes the king hence today? Lennox is asking. Is the king leaving today? So what does Macbeth says? He does. He did appoint so. So Macbeth says yes, he is supposed. Macbeth knows everything, that the king is dead. He is not going anywhere. But he is pretending innocence and he is telling yes, the king is supposed to leave. That is how he had planned everything. Lennox, the night has been unruly. Where we lay, our chimneys were blown down, and as they say, lamentings heard in the air. Strange screams of death and prophesying with accents terrible of dire combustion and confused events new hatched to the woeful time. The obscure bird clamoured the livelong night. Some say the earth was feverish and did shake. This is Shakespeare. Wherever there is something gruesome or a murder is to take place, on the eve of that murder or at the time of the murder, so strange and horrible things are spotted in nature, as if they are the warnings, they are the portents of evil that is going to take place or is happening. So Lennox says that yes, the night has been quite a stormy and a violent night, and the house where they were lodged, the chimneys of that house were blown down on account of the storm. And it was also reported that mournings and screams of men who were dying, that was heard. And many people also heard announcements coming from heaven, prophetic announcements coming from heaven, that very terrible commotions will be taking place. Yeah, he is right. After the murder of Duncan, so these are the prophecies. Many people said they heard prophecies of commotion that will engulf Scotland. And the obscure bird here refers to the owl. So the owl had been hooting all through the night. Remember, even Lady Macbeth had heard the hooting of the owl. And some people reported that the earth shook. There was as if an earthquake, as if the earth was in a state of fever. When you are in a state of fever, don't you tremble? Yes, especially in malaria. Don't you tremble a lot? Or you feel a lot of cold and you tremble. So earth was shaking in such a way, some people said, that it seemed as if earth was suffering from fever. It was a rough night. So Macbeth agrees, yes, it was a rough night. My young remembrance cannot parallel a fellow to it. So Lennox is a young fellow and he says, my experience, that means up till now, I haven't experienced such a rough night. He is a young fellow, so his youthful experience cannot recall a horrible night as this. Re-enter Macduff. Oh, horror, horror, horror. Why does he come in like this? Because he has entered Duncan's chamber and has seen Duncan murdered. So, tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name thee. So he comes running out and he says that neither the tongue nor the heart can think or explain such a horrible deed. Macbeth and Lennox, both of them, what's the matter? One of them is sincere in his question. Lennox doesn't know what has happened, so he's asking, what's the matter? What has happened? But Macbeth, he knows very well what Macduff has seen. He's pretending to be innocent. Macduff, confusion now hath made his masterpiece. Most sacrilegious murder hath broke ope the Lord's anointed temple and stole thence the life of the building. So Macduff seems to be horrified. He's in a state of shock. And he says that destruction has done its deadliest job. Destruction is open. It has done a horrible deed. A very sacrilegious, that means a very unholy murder has been committed. On whom? On the holy body of the king. King is supposed to be God's representative on earth. And the murder has been carried out on his holy body and has deprived him of his life, has taken away the life from him. What is it you say, the life? So Macbeth, what an acting, he is telling, what are you saying? The king's life, do you mean the king's life? Lennox is also asking the same thing. Mean you his majesty? So do you mean to say that our king is dead? Approach the chamber and destory your sight with a new gorgon. Do not bid me speak. So he says, go yourself to his room and see a sight. And this sight is so horrible. So like gorgon here refers to a monster. If you looked at that monster, you turn to stone. So the sight is like that gorgon. So if you go and see it, you will turn to stone. You will be petrified. Don't tell me to say anything. I cannot speak anymore. So don't ask me to speak. So the Gorgon or Medusa had, it was said that it is a mythological character, that whoever looked at Medusa, they were turned to stone. So go yourself and see. This will act like a Gorgon or Medusa. The thing which awaits you in the room, go and see it for yourself and you will turn to stone. Don't ask me to speak anymore. See and then speak yourselves. First go, observe what has happened and then you come and talk. So Macbeth and Lennox, they leave. Awake, awake, ring the alarm bell, murder and treason, Banquo and Donalbain, Malcolm, awake. Shake off this downy sleep, death's counterfeit, and look on death itself. Up, up and see the great doom's image. Malcolm, Banquo, as from your graves rise up and walk like spirits, actually spirits, to countenance this horror. So Macduff is in a state of shock and he is awakening. Everyone is asleep. Only the ones who are awake are Macbeth. His wife is awake in the bedroom. Lennox and Macduff. So these two go to Duncan's chamber or Duncan's room, and in the meantime Macduff makes a bid to wake up all the king's men. So he calls each of them personally. So he says, ring the alarm bell, awake, murder and treason, treachery has been committed. And then he calls out the names of Banquo, the king's two sons, Malcolm and Donalbain. Get up, shake off this sleep. This is just an image of death. Come and look at death yourself. Sleep is just an image of death. Image is not the real thing. So come and look at real death itself. Wake up and see the horrible picture of the day of judgment. Malcolm and Banquo, come up, get up from your graves as if, and walk like spirits to face this horrible sin. The gruesome murder which has been committed. Come and see for yourselves. Rise up from your graves like ghosts. So when he asked for the bells to ring, alarm bell to ring, one of the servant must have rung the alarm bell, And this brings Lady Macbeth. She must be waiting for all this in her room. Enter Lady Macbeth. So as the hostess, on hearing the alarm bell, she should come out. So she comes. What's the business that such a hideous trumpet calls to parley the sleepers of the house? Speak, speak. So yes, what innocence. She doesn't know why the alarm bell has been rung. So she is telling. So what is the matter? That such an alarm bell has been rung to wake up the sleeping people of the house. So tell me, what has happened? Oh, gentle lady, Macduff says, it is not for you to hear what I can speak. The repetition in a woman's ear would murder as it fell. So Macduff at this moment, he doesn't suspect Lady Macbeth. So he calls her a gentle lady, if only he had known her well. So he says, this news is not for a woman to hear. This news is so horrible, so ghastly. It is not fit to be heard by a woman. So the repetition, that means what I am going to say, the report of it, passing through the woman's ear would have a very death-like effect on her. It will have a fatal effect on her. Enter Banquo. Oh, Banquo, Banquo, our royal master's murdered. So the moment he sees Banquo, he breaks down. He says, Banquo, our king has been killed. Lady Macbeth, woo, alas. What? In our house? So where will he be murdered? He is in the house, so how can he can't go out and get murdered? So the way she is pretending. What? That means, what did you say? Our royal master murdered. So has he been murdered in our house? Yes, she knows where he has been murdered. Too cruel anywhere. Dear Duff, I pray thee, contradict thyself and say it is not so. So when Lady Macbeth says that has he been murdered in our house, Banquo says that wherever he has been murdered, whether in the house or outside, it is a very cruel deed. And then he asks Macduff that tell me that what you are saying is not the truth. Re-enter Macbeth and Lennox. So Macbeth and Lennox, they enter again after having witnessed what has happened in Duncan's chamber. Had I but died an hour before this chance, I had lived a blessed time. For from this instant there is nothing serious in mortality. All is but toys. Renown and grace is dead. The wine of life is drawn, and the mere lees is left to vault to brag of, left this vault to brag of. So what a good actor he is, Macbeth, the way he is playing his part. So after having entered, he is mourning the death of the king. He says, if only I had died 1 hour before this horrible murder, I would have considered that I had led a happy life. But from now onwards, life will be meaningless. And in this world, everything will seem futile, useless. Fame and grace have died their death. It does not exist anymore. And all those things which provide happiness to the life has been taken away. Why? Because in the death of the king, all happiness has been taken away and only misery remains to boast of in this world. So what remains to boast of in this world? Misery. So the wine of life has been taken away and only the bottom, the dregs which we say, that is left. Now who enters? Malcolm and Donalbain, the two sons of the king. What is amiss? So hearing the alarm bell, he also comes and he wants to know what has happened, what has gone wrong. You are and do not know it. The spring, the head, the fountain of your blood is stopped. The very source of it is stopped. So he says, you too have been wronged. Why? Your father has been killed. So you have been wronged, but you are not aware of it. The source, the fountain of your blood has stopped flowing. It is not flowing anymore. The very source of your life has been destroyed, has been cut off. Macduff, he doesn't go into such poetic lines. He straight away tells what has happened. Your royal father's murdered. That means your royal father, the king, your father, has been killed. This is not the time for poetry. Oh, by whom? So who has killed him? Those of his chamber. So who's saying this? Lennox. Those of his chamber, as it seemed, had done it. Their hands and faces were all batched with blood. So were the daggers which unwiped we found upon their pillows. They stared and were distracted. No man's life was to be trusted with them. So Lennox, this is what Lady Macbeth and Macbeth had wanted, that the blame should fall on the guards. So this is what happened also. Lennox suspects that the guards have done it. So he says that the guards who were supposed to be in his chamber, they have murdered him. Why? Because their hands and faces were all smeared in the king's blood. Even their daggers had blood stains, and they were not wiped. They were lying on their pillows, and they looked in a blank and distraught manner. And they seemed dangerous. No man's life could be trusted, could be safe in their hands. Poor fellow. When they wake up from their sleep and they see the king murdered, so naturally they will be looking in that horrible manner. Macbeth, yet I do repent of my fury that I did kill them. Macbeth is very cunning. He pretends that he is so angry at the death of the king, he immediately kills the two guards. Why? Because he knows that once the guards come to their senses, they might oppose that, no, we haven't done it, we were dead sleep, we were given a drink and we fell asleep and we don't know what had happened, and that would give rise to suspicion. So somehow he wants the guards only to be framed. That is why, to stop them from opposing that they had committed the murder, saying that no, we haven't committed, to stop them from saying only, he did not allow them a chance to speak, and immediately killed the guards in the presence of Lennox. And now he is telling, I am really feeling repentant of my anger, that in a fit of anger I kill them. So Macduff becomes suspicious. So he says, why did you kill them? Wherefore did you so? Why did you kill them? Why did you do this? And this speech of Macbeth is important. Who can be wise, amazed, temperate and furious, loyal and neutral in a moment? So this is a rhetoric question. The answer is implied. The interrogative one, it's a rhetoric one. Here the answer is implied. Answer is in it. So who can be at the same time wise and yet confused? Angry, at the same time controlled, temperate and furious, angry, loyal and neutral. So how can I be loyal as well as impartial? I am loyal to the king, so then how can I be impartial? My loyalty will be towards him. So I cannot be both. I cannot be north and south. Either I'll be north or south. In the same way, I cannot be both at the same time. No man. So not only I, no man can be that. The expedition of my violent love outrun the pauser reason. So my violent love for Duncan, my great love for Duncan, forced me to take revenge before my reason could come and stop me. Before I could think rationally, my great love for Duncan urged me to kill these two. Here lay Duncan, his silver skin laced with his golden blood, and his gash stabs looked like a breach in nature for ruin's wasteful entrance. Here the murderers, steeped in the colour of their trade, their daggers unmannerly breached with gore. Who could refrain that had a heart to love, and in that had courage to make his love known? So he says that I saw the king. I saw my king Duncan, his white skin, his silver colored skin smeared with blood, and the open wounds looked as if like an opening to allow death and destroy him. So the open wound of Duncan, through this death has entered his body and destroyed him. And on the other hand, I see the murderers. They are stained with the blood of Duncan which they have shed. Their daggers are filled with blood. So, can any person who has a loving heart, who is courageous enough, can any person stop him from making a show of his love? In order to show my love for Duncan, I did all this. So, how could I control myself? I have a heart which is filled with love for my king. I am a courageous person. So, in order to make my love known for Duncan, I did it. Lady Macbeth, help me hence, ho! Now she pretends to faint. Macduff, look to the lady. So, take care of the lady. Malcolm, aside to Donalbain. Malcolm senses there is a conspiracy. If my father, the king, is not safe, what guarantee is there of our life? Malcolm is wise, and what does he tell Donalbain? Why do we hold our tongues that most may claim this argument for ours? So Malcolm takes aside his brother Donalbain and says, we are the best people to talk on the subject, but why are we silent? Donalbain, aside to Malcolm, what should be spoken? Here, where our fate hit in an auger hole may rush and seize us. Let's away. Our tears are not yet brewed. So, Donalbain seems to be more rational. So he says, what can we say in this place, where death from a death hole has come up from an unexpected quarter? Death can come up from an unexpected quarter and catch hold of us. What can we say here? This place is dangerous for us. Our father has been murdered here. So what can we speak? Because death can any moment creep up and catch us. So let's run away from this place. This is not the time to shed tears. This is not the time to shed tears. Our life is in danger. Whoever has killed our father will be wanting to kill us too. So it's better we leave this place and get away. This is not the time to shed tears. Malcolm, aside to Donalbain, upon the foot of motion. So Malcolm says yes, upon the foot of motion. So yes, he says that yes, let us do anything. Look to the lady. Who says this? Banquo. Lady Macbeth is carried out. What a wonderful actress she is. She pretends to faint and then she is carried out. Everyone gets worried. And when we have our naked frailties hid that suffer in exposure, let us meet and question this most bloody piece of work. To know it further, fear and scruple shake us. In the great hand of God I stand, and thence against the undivulged pretense I fight of treasonous malice. So Banquo seems to be the most, I would say the wisest, the most balanced person, and he is handling the situation. So he tells that actually when they had heard the alarm bell, all of them had come rushing out, whatever dresses they were wearing, in their night clothes. So at this time they are not properly dressed. They are semi-clad. So Banquo advises that let us go back to our room, and otherwise we might catch the cold on account of exposure. They are not properly dressed. They are half dressed. So let us go back to our rooms and cover ourselves properly and then come and meet and talk on this bloody act of murder. Let's discuss this murder and get to know about it. At this moment we are troubled by fears. We are troubled by doubts. So let God protect me. I surrender myself under God's protection. And depending on that, I will oppose the wicked designs of the traitors. So he is against the traitors, all his loyalty is to the king. And so do I. So Macduff says, even I do the same. I have also also surrendered myself to God's care, and I also oppose this wicked design, wicked treachery. So all of us we do. Macbeth, let's briefly put on manly readiness and meet in the hall together. So Macbeth, now as the host, he says that let us put on our men's clothes and then get ready and come to the hall. Let's come and meet in the castle hall and discuss. Let us get ready and then come and discuss it in the hall. All well contented. So they all agree to it. So all of them leave, only two are here. Who? The two sons of the king. What will you do? Malcolm is asking Donalbain. Let's not consort with them. To show an unfelt sorrow is an office which false man does easy. I'll to England. So Malcolm knows that among these people, one of them is the murderer, or maybe more than one. They might have formed a group and done it. He doesn't know who is the murderer. So he feels that maybe one among them is the murderer or several among them are the murderers, and they will be pretending that they are sad. So he says, he is asking Donalbain, what are you going to do? I am not going to join them. One of them is their father's killer, or more than one. So he says, they will be making an outward show of sadness. So it will be, this is an easy job which is done by hypocrites. So among these, some may be hypocrites, or one may be the hypocrite who has killed the king but will shed crocodile tears now. So I am going away to England. Donalbain, to Ireland. Yes, this is a nice decision they have taken, that they are not, both of them are not going the same way. Because in that case, if one is caught, the other will also be caught. But if you go separate ways, even if one is caught, the other will be alive to take revenge. To Ireland I. So I am going to Ireland. Our separated fortune shall keep us both the safer. Where we are, there is daggers in men's smiles. The near in blood, the nearer bloody. So Donalbain tells, I am going to England. If we go separate ways, it will be good for both of us. We will remain safe. Because at this moment, we are in a place where the people are with murderous thoughts in them, but they are hiding it with smile. Remember what Lady Macbeth had said, look like the innocent flower but be the serpent inside. So he feels the people are like this. They are smiling at you, but they have daggers inside their minds. And the closer in blood, the more bloody. This is a hint that he suspects Macbeth, because among these people, only one person is closer to them in blood, and that is Macbeth, a near kinsman of Duncan. So most probably he suspects Duncan. Malcolm, this murderous shaft that shot hath not yet lighted, and our safest way is to avoid the aim. Therefore to horse, and let us not be dainty of leave-taking, but shift away. There is warrant in that theft which steals itself when there is no mercy left. So Malcolm says that the arrow which has been shot has not yet come down and hit us. The murderous arrow has been shot. One of us has been killed. Of the royal family, 3 members, the king has been killed, and the arrow will come now our way. It has not yet lighted on us, but will soon come on us. So the best thing is to avoid it. So let us get up on our horses and leave, and there is no need for us to take a leave taking. There is nothing to take leave. There is no need to take leave. Let's get on our horses and leave the place. Because as the host, Macbeth might feel we are ungrateful, we should have asked him and then left. But he says that our leaving without a leave taking, that means our stealing away from the house, is justified at this point because we cannot expect any mercy here. Our father's killer is roaming here, so we cannot expect any mercy from these people. So there is justification in our stealing away. Here stealing away means leaving without informing others. So this is where the scene ends. The two sons of Duncan, they run away to save their lives. So with this, the porter scene, or the scene where the murder of Duncan is discovered, comes to an end. So initially, in the beginning stage, there was a comic relief, but after that only the tension surmounts the moment the murder is discovered. So I don't think you have any problems now because I have explained to you line wise. So bye for the time being and wait for my next one. I promise you this time I won't be late.